Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. So first off, please forgive the state of my head. It's been a crazy couple of days. I haven't shaved. I'm untrimmed. My hair is kind of wonky from the gym. But I wanted to make sure I got this video recorded. I have got a lot going on, but I really wanted to make sure that I got this down because it's been 2 weeks. I was gone last week, and now, I mean, for some of you that might binge episodes or something like that, it's been moments. But for the people who wait, just with bated breath, not that that's probably a thing, but what the case may be, I wanted to make sure I got a video in, because again, life has been really hectic, and I think a good way. All right, so the Week in Bryan is going to probably be a little. You know what? Let's just get into it. Why do I explain things before I explain things? Let's take a sip first before I go out of my way. Okay, that was more than a sip. All right. Week in Bryan. Painting. So I have over my shoulder, you'll see here, my Necromunda gang, my Paladin Enforcers. I've been slamming through them. It's been feeling really good to get back into the swing of things. And as we get games in my little local campaign, I'm adding more cops to the roster. I feel better when they're painted. I know it doesn't change the gameplay or superstitions about painted models always die the first time they hit the table or anything like that, but it feels good. So I've been working on that. I finished a special project for a fan. I can't really get into it because it's a special surprise project, but I am excited for that to get shipped out to said fan. Let's see what else. Painting wise, I think that's it. I like I said, I've been really focusing on my Necromunda stuff just to kind of keep my brush skills in flow. Yeah. So personal. A couple of personal things this week. Let's see. Back doing the gym regularly. Not babying the back anymore, even after Origins last week, where I was on my feet and walking around a lot, and not eating or snacking nearly as much as I normally do. I was like, you know what? I could take Monday off. It's the day after a convention. Nope. Got right back in there, and it is back, back to the regular schedule as per normal. I am hoping to keep that up, and maybe, knock on wood, maybe have time to add a fourth day during the week, because I kind of like to get ramped up a little bit right before Gen Con, which is my next big show. More on that in the future. But yeah, so personal's doing pretty good. One of the big things in our personal life is a friend of a friend, charitable donation sort of thing. So, all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anybody who's met my wife, probably at a convention, or in other circumstances, probably has also met Bruce, her service dog. He's Bruce Wayne. He's our amazing hero of a dog. He is a giant Malamute. And he helps her with stability when her myasthenia gravis causes her legs to shake out, or if she has one of her myasthenic episodes, he is there to help keep her from hurting herself, from falling down directly, like slap to the floor. And he's also just a very big, strong, durable animal, or at least he was. I'm using the past tense, not because he's passed on, but he is very old. And it has come to our realization in the last month or so that he really needs to be retired as a service dog. He's not going to be able to do his job nearly as well as he used to without hurting himself. And it has put us in kind of a pickle, because I don't know if you know this, but trained service animals for mobility training and stability training, it's expensive. Buying one right out it's a $10, $12, $13,000 endeavor. Getting one trained to do so is thousands of dollars, and honestly, it's just not something that I have. We are a single income household. We're still fighting the state for Natalie's disability. Natalie's not able to work, and so it puts us into a situation where Natalie feels like she can't really leave the house nearly as much as she used to, because Bruce is getting too old to do his job, and there is not another service animal in this house. Our other animals, our other two dogs, John is old as well and has started to have issues with old dog things that are not something you want to have happen out in the middle of public. And our youngest dog, the dog that we originally got to try and train as a service dog, is kind of a spaz. I love him. He is well loved, but he's a COVID puppy, and he is too anxious, too eager to yell and bark at other dogs, and goes back to, we'd love to be able to train him ourselves, but it's too much for us, and we do not have the money to get somebody to professionally do so. So all of this being said, Natalie had lamented on her social media about the fact that she's going to likely be soon without a service dog to be able to help her, and that she really feels like it's going to insulate her, because she's not going to be able to leave. And I leave for work. I go to conventions. We're in the smack dab middle of convention season. Hell, I just found out yesterday that come next March, I'm going to be gone. I mean, I'll stop home to do laundry and repack, but I'm going to effectively be gone for almost 2 weeks in March next year. Plus there was a gig that I passed on last year that would have taken me overseas for 2 weeks. I mean, like it would be a lot for her, without having an animal to be able to help her while she's out and about. And someone caught wind of this and sent it to a charitable person who, like, just basically, the evils of social media. Sometimes I have to set that stuff aside, because sometimes somebody comes through. Sometimes, I know I probably shouldn't, but I've got my PayPal and my Cash App on my videos, and occasionally somebody will send me an anonymous donation and be like, hey, this is to help with X, or, thanks for the video X. In this instance, through, various social channels, someone got in touch with Natalie, and a fully trained seizure and stability dog, young dogs, I think he's a year and a half, didn't work out for the person who they were trained for to be with, and they are donating them to us. I mean, this is huge. This is a thousands of dollars worth of training. Getting a trained dog, like I said earlier, is a 5-digit cost that we just don't have. So here very shortly, we will be adding a new animal to the house, and it's gonna be a lot of animal. It's gonna be a lot of animal. I know I'm gonna be juggling a lot of canine food, but it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be a very big help for Natalie to be able to feel like she can go places, It's big. It's a big thing for me, and I'm very thankful for the people involved. Um, and yes, as with anything, we might get this animal and it might not work with our existing animals. It might not, like, we know that that's a possibility, but we're trying to stay positive about it, and hopefully welcome the animal to the house and get him working to allow Bruce to enjoy his golden years. So, all right, that's me personally. Like I said, it had a lot going on the personal level. Um, Gaming wise, I will. Gaming and work are going to blend into one thing in this instance, because I had Origins last week. And Origins is a work show, but it's a work show in which I got to do a little gaming. Obviously, still playing a bunch of video games. Last night I played a bunch of Mortal Kombat 1. I was waiting for my buddy to possibly hop on so we could play some Payday. And I was like, you know what? Homelander just got added to Mortal Kombat. And I jumped in, and I forgot that they had added a completely new style of how to play, like almost like a story mode, like a map mode, story mode. So I played a bunch of Invasion last night, Mortal Kombat 1 Invasion, and it's fun. You get to unlock stuff, you get to try things out, and unlike in the story mode, like the narrative story mode, you actually get to use fatalities and stuff. I was having a good time for quite a bit last night. Then, as far as other gaming goes, at Origins, I got to. You know what? I'm gonna go through project news, and then we'll do Origins as the meat of the thing, because that's what this is about. All right. So I believe I'm just about ready to get the green light on the new Shadowrun novel. Having talked to John at Origins, and he had said that he was talking to RJ. RJ is the one that's actually in charge of Shadowrun. So I need to basically get the green light from both of them before I can start putting word to page, but I'm super excited to do so. Still talking to a former employer, or a former client, about possibly doing a slightly more long-term rules dev position. Just a few hours a week, side gig, but it will be it'll be really good because it's going to be it'll help me flex my dev muscles on a system that I didn't initially create, rather than a lot of times I end up just basically building a system and then just kind of working with what I've done. So this will be pretty cool to get to dev off of someone else's stuff. And while I cannot say who it is, I've worked with this gentleman's rules before, and I've played a bunch of his games, so it should be a lot of fun either way. Let's see. Warzone's going strong. We had a fun time at Origins. Alex is literally while I'm recording this, Alex is at the Trenchworks fabrication place where they're making our COCast models, and he let me know yesterday, because he's doing kind of like the final quality control check. He let me know yesterday that the models look great. Super happy with the actual final production models, and that we are that much closer to actually starting to get to put labels on boxes and ship things out. I'm very excited. Our timetable looks good. I don't want to make any quotes or say, by the way, I don't want to put any of that out in the cyberspace for us to disappoint people in the future, but things are well underway. Very, very excited, very happy to see where this, to see this come to fruition. So much so that when I start talking about Origins, I will talk about the time at the booth and some of the cool stuff that Alex and I had a chance to talk about while we were there. Let's Evil Genius. So yeah, while I wasn't at Origins for Evil Genius, I did get a chance to do a lot of FaceTime and see not the app, like the camera app, but actually like talk to people. And things are going really well behind the curtain as far as getting things created and made, getting ramped up for all the cool stuff that's going to happen at Gen Con, and getting super close to basically being able to start sharing chunks of Intergalactic Heroes as beta rules. It's cool. I'm so glad. Plus the legendary. The legendary properties, Pakram and Kong, the books we did for the Kickstarter, they're coming along. Every day I get new art to send up to Legendary to have them check things out. It's been a great couple of weeks to be creating Evil Genius stuff. Plus, I'm writing again, so I'm writing adventures and stuff, and I've always loved that. I mean, I enjoy being a producer. I enjoy getting to make decisions and planning things out and hiring other people to do certain aspects of it and kind of see the stuff that comes back. But it will never replace the feeling I get of creating something and getting it out in the world. Which we'll talk about that when it comes to Origins, because I definitely had a ego building moment, no pun intended, while I was there. But yeah, so that's I wrapped up on that adventure for the Renegade guys for Essence 20, and it seemed to go pretty well as far as with the development team. They liked what I did. And so I don't know, I could not tell you for the life of me when that's going to ever see the light of day, but I am happy that it exists, and I can't wait for others to get a chance to play it. All right, so 17 minutes into the video, let's talk about Origins. I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to go ahead and just do the kind of run through the day by day, because conventions are pretty busy. It's especially when I've got multiple hats to wear, and in this case I definitely did. So I rolled in on Wednesday after picking up my good friend Matt, who really did us a solid. Over at Evil Genius, there were some holes in the Game Master schedule as far as to get some of these things ran, and rather than canceling events, we would no company ever wants to cancel an event, especially because of like a game master getting sick or something along those lines. So when Haley, our kind of den mom of the Evil Genius staff, when Haley reached out to everybody, including the fans of Gen Con website, and said, "Hey, I need some GMs for some Everyday Hero stuff, and at least one Everyday Arcana adventure." When she reached out, I saw that, and I was like, you know what? I know a really, really good game master, and he's not currently shackled to a 40-hour a week job or anything like that. So I reached out to my friend Matt, who is a great dungeon master / game master / storyteller. He is also an extremely personable person. He's the kind of person that you can just sit down and talk to for hours and then forget that those hours have gone by. And he's got a lot of really good philosophies on how to run a game. So I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing over this weekend?" And we got him set up as a Evil Genius game master. He ran a bunch of events for us at the show and did a great job. Did a fantastic job. In fact, I had a couple of players come to my booth. I wasn't even at the Evil Genius booth. I was at the Warzone booth. And I had a couple of people seek me out to let me know that he did a good job. So I'm very, very happy that he's part of this now. It's also I'm also always over the moon when one of my friends gets more involved in the stuff that I'm doing. I've been doing this a very, very long time. Been at this for over 20 years, and all my friends are gamers. I surround myself with gamers. A lot of them play test for me, which is awesome. But there is such a hugely different feeling when some of your friends or some of my friends on their own accord, because they like games, not because they're friends of mine or they're doing a favor to me, but because they like games, that they do or read or play something that I've created or something that I've worked on. And it's not a hubris thing. It's not a, I love that they love me. No, it's more along the lines of, if they're doing it, if they're playing it, if they're talking about it, if they're enjoying it, and it's not something that I'm orchestrating, that means that they actually enjoy the product. And if they actually enjoy the product, it means other gamers out there do too. And it means a lot to me. And so hearing Matt be so excited about learning Everyday Heroes and, jazzed about the adventures and talked about, the cool stuff that happened when running these adventures, and talked about, like, on our little fan home local Discord, he immediately was like, I want to run an Everyday Heroes game, who's in? And that, I cannot tell you how much that meant to me. To know that he did in fact had a good time at Origins. It wasn't just, I'm doing a favor because Bryan needed help. It's literally just, he had a good time. He walked away with cool stuff, physically and emotionally. And I also got to spend a lot of time with my friend. He lives an hour away from me, and I don't get to see him nearly as often as I would like. So getting a chance to spend most of 4 days, plus a 4 hour or 3 hours of a 4 hour car drive both ways, it did my soul so good. It did so much work for my inner me. But so I digress. Wednesday we drove in. Matt went off to go set things up with Evil Genius. I helped set up the Warzone booth. What little needed to be set up, it was a small booth, because we didn't have, we still didn't have any merch to sell. We're not going to sell anything before the backers and retailers have their tracking numbers. So we were like, you know what? It's just a demo show. We're showing people the game. We're showing people the models. Got to see the new, the new wave, some of the models that are being released in Wave 2 that no one had seen before, outside of like a very select few involved with their fabrication. And that's the Mishima Samurai, kind of, I won't call them basic grunts, but the closest thing to basic grunts the Mishima Corporation has. That are still part of the actual, like, corporate force. So getting to see those, I was very excited with them. They're great looking models. Seeing the new studio paints for, like, the Immaculate Furies and the Praetorian Stalkers up close. So there was a lot in the case for people to see. And then, of course, people came by and would do demos of the game, play a few rounds. It was going to be a good time, and it was going to be a laid back time. Alex and I got a chance to do a lot of Origins. Is not as busy of a show as some of the others anyway. Throw in the fact that we're not trying to hard sell people. We don't have a line at the cash register or anything like that. It made it a very laid back and easy experience. But it also gave Alex and I a few hours over the course of the show to talk and basically, figure out a few things for where we want to go. We know what's coming in Wave 2, and it's being playtested right now. And I've designed a ton of things going forward, but as some new sculptors become available, as some people have reached out to us and want to help with the process, as the game is getting more popular before launch, super weird, there are a few things that Alex and I in the past had said, we're going to wait a year, and a couple of those things have popped up as, what, maybe it might be cool to go ahead and tread down that path a little bit. So we started doing a lot of discussion about how we're going to handle this. Where do I think I can take my design from there to there? this particular unit, man, that's ridiculous. How, it was so stupid back in the day. How are we going to make that cool? And then we would spend an hour talking about how to make that cool. It was really good. It was nice to have all that FaceTime with Alex, and it did wonders for a certain aspect of the game that I can't get into, but I think people are going to. I think people are going to freak out that we are able to do what we're doing without breaking the game. I know I'm being vague, but it's mostly because it hasn't even gone into first round playtesting yet, so I do not want to even give voice to it out in the world. But rest assured, there's cool stuff on the horizon, and as Warzone gets more popular, I'm very excited for Adepticon next year. We've got people from overseas talking about how they might fly in specifically to do Adepticon so they can play in the Warzone tournament. I'm head explode. Yeah, so that was Wednesday. We set things up. Wednesday night we had our little Evil Genius get together where we got to meet a bunch of the Evil Genius goons and minions, and kind of get the layout of the land. Thursday came. Thursday was my busy day. I worked at the booth. I worked at the booth all day, every day. But the Thursday also for me had some after hours stuff that had to get taken care of. Had to help out with some Evil Genius things. Had a couple of meetings. It was just there was a lot going on. And so at the end of the night, I decided not to go and drink at the bar, and I just had some dinner, had some time with Matt, and then we went our separate ways because I knew that Friday was going to be a big deal. Because Friday morning I woke up and I got to play Shadowrun online on the Six Sides of Gaming, their Twitch channel and YouTube channel. God, I got something in my eyeball and my nose. Everything's all itchy at the same time. You guys get to sit and watch me looking like I'm having some kind of condition. But I showed up on Friday morning to do the Shadowrun stream. Now, normally, I always play. I shouldn't say always. I have always played Hollywood in my Shadowrun streams because that's like my iconic character. That's my character from the novels, a character from my Shadowrun past, who I relate to the most, if that makes any sense. It's the one that I have the easiest time getting into his head, and he's a lot of fun. And so I got there, and the other Six Sides characters that I normally stream with are chronologically caught right now in the World of Darkness, or the Worlds of Darkness, World of Shadows. Sorry, World of Darkness is totally different. The Worlds of Shadows streaming series that's on Monday nights on Six Sides of Gaming. It is an ongoing. It's going to be. I think it's 20 episodes. It's like a full season worth of role playing, and the people involved in that, the characters involved in that, are the people who I normally run with. Well, Rem, the game master, love her to death. She ran this Friday. Basically, this was like a side jaunt from the World of Shadows game, meaning that my normal runners, my normal team that I run with, they're currently occupied with the stuff that they filmed for their show. So timeline-wise, this little adventure took place, this little mission took place kind of parallel to what was going on over there. And in fact, what was kind of cool, I'm not going to give any spoilers if you go to find the videos and stuff. Our mission dealt with something that they were told about in their game. Rem did a really good job of making it kind of run parallel, and if all goes well, there will be more to that in the future. But I had a good time. It was, it was short. It's a 2-hour session, so you get in there, you try and get as much done as you can. There are times in a Shadowrun game where you take hours to plan. That's not something you can really do in this little short of a streaming game. You just get in there and get stuff done. And it definitely showed. There were some slapdash moments, but we had a good time. It was fun, and at the end of it, I was very glad that we got to leave our mark in the world of Shadows, kind of that sub-universe. I am looking forward to Gen Con and GameholeCon, where I will probably get a chance to play more Hollywood, and I have a sneaking suspicion that I will get a chance to hopefully reconnect with my normal running team at that time. Yeah, so that was Friday morning, and then I got back to Duluth. We had a great time, had a fabulous dinner. We had a lot of good dinners while I was there. And then Friday night, I took Matt out to the Big Bar on 2, the traditional hangout bar for Origins, and introduced him to a bunch of my gaming colleagues, a bunch of my buddies, including a bunch of the people who normally play with me on Six Sides. So like Tommy Gofton and Elisa, Luke Gygax at Greenwood, Seth Polanski, the people who I get to normally hang out with at these shows, because this is, my normal convention family. I introduced Matt to. I always wanted to make sure that, I never want to leave people out just because, they don't get a chance to talk. These aren't the people that they know. I don't want somebody to sit at the table and be like, meh, 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 meh. Because it's no fun for them. I want their convention experience to be a good time. So introductions all around, have a couple of drinks, have a good time, laughs. It's always so much fun. I love my convention family, and I miss them dearly in the long stretches between conventions sometimes. But it was really nice to get to hang out Friday night. We had a great time. So much so, in fact, that the following day, after a Saturday of doing booth stuff and demos and talking to a couple of store owners to open up new Warzone, they're opening up new stores and they're gonna have Warzone in it. It was a good part of the show. Alex, Matt, and I went out and got dinner, and then I actually got to go meet, very shortly, but I got to meet Adrian Paul, the Duncan MacLeod from the Highlander TV series, because he was the MC at our Highlander special event for Evil Genius. He's the one that kind of welcomed everyone to the game, and then, on his way out, I actually ran into him in the lobby. Had a chance to, there's a couple of maybe 2 minutes. It was really short, but it was a handshake, a short conversation, and then he went on his way. It was just really nice to thank him. Thank him for being involved, and let him know that my wife's a huge fan, and just it was a cool interaction. And then he went on his way, and then we went and hung out for a little bit with the Evil Genius crowd. Got to talk to a few people. Got to get some very. I mentioned earlier where I got where someone said something very, very, very kind to me, and it made it did wonders for my designer's ego, and that was so. I wrote an adventure that got that got unveiled and played for the first time at Origins. It is the sequel. So let me back up just a second. Evil Genius has an adventure written by, I believe it is Ren LeBeau, an amazing adventure called You Must Be This Tall to Slay. And it is a tongue-in-cheek, very funny, almost done in the style of like Archer or Venture Brothers, a water park vampire hunt. And it is very popular. We've ran it at several conventions now, and it almost always sells out. It's a very, very popular. In fact, if you're going to Origins, if you're going to Gen Con, you should see if you can find a place to play one. It's a great adventure. Well, we decided that this year, rather than running that one again and again and again and again, we would take a bunch of those time slots and we would add a sequel. And I called it "You Must Still Be This Tall to Slay." It is a continuation of that story. Takes you back to the water park, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's again done in the same theme and the same style, and a lot of humor, a lot of jokes. It's very family friendly. If you want it to be, you can also run it a little more horror movie if that's the direction you want to go. But collectively, it is very much done in the style of you guys are going to be laughing around the table, and while you might be really thinking about like the serious aspects of the adventure, you're probably going to see a lot of puns. You're gonna hear names that sound silly, but not so much that they take you completely out of the adventure. Like it doesn't. It's not like that. And I actually had a game master tell me that it was amazingly fun to run through, and I had 2 players find me at my booth to tell me not only was that one of the most fun adventures that they've had in a long time, but that they're hoping that next year when they go to Origins that there will be a 3rd in the series because they've played in the first one too. So I'm very excited. I'm humbled by the attention, but also very proud of what I've created, and I'm glad that come Origins there will be more of that. Not the praise, but I mean like more people playing the Still to Slay. Yeah, so that was a ton of fun. Ton of fun getting a chance to hang out with the Evil Genius folks. Because when I'm at a show for a different company, sometimes I have a hard time feeling like I'm splitting, because they're paying me to be there. They've paid my badge, they paid for my hotel room. Sometimes they paid my travel, and it's hard for me to be like, hey, I'm going to give up some time that they've effectively purchased to come do stuff for my other gigs. So the splitting my time is difficult, but in this case it worked out, and I had a lot of fun, and I got a chance to talk to a lot of people. And then Sunday came. Sunday is Sunday. It's the time of the show where people have started to wander away. People, you get a lot more luggage running around in the aisles. Luggage. But it was just good. It was a great part of the show. A couple of highlights. You know what? I totally forgot. It's not about Origins, but I did open the box right before I left for Origins. So you guys remember the noodle bar, the piece of terrain that I printed out, and I haven't yet started to paint it. But one of my friends and a viewer of the channel, hello Nate, wrote me this very nice note and sent me a little present. I always love getting presents from viewers. That's why I put my P.O. box on the thing. But this was cute. It goes, "Hey buddy, I saw where you have a noodle bar. You needed a noodle bar for your noodle bar. Now you have one. I know you have limited space for things like this. I hope it's okay that I sent it." Of course it is. I bought it at Gen Con last year. I can't think of the name of the company that made or painted it, but I'm afraid they went out of business. Anywho, I do enjoy your silly little shows. Keep up the great content. Your friend, Nate Sims. So Nate sent me a painted resin little noodle, literally a noodle bar, like a sushi bar stand, and little bench or little stools to put next to it. So when I get the, so thank you, Nate, by the way, and then thank for the note. It made my day that day. But what that means is when I get my my noodle bar terrain piece put together, I'll have this cool thing to kind of set out front. Like there's there's the inside bar, and then there's the street vendor part too. It's gonna be, I think it's cool. So thank you very much. That had been right before Origins, but during Origins, I also managed to pick up. I didn't do a lot of purchasing at this one. Funny story, true story. The only thing that was on my list at Origins was Spanish black radishes. I know that sounds weird, and it's not a game. My son got me a cookbook for Father's Day, and there was a recipe in that cookbook to create an amazing condiment like kraut. like sauerkraut, that uses black radishes and roasted cumin seeds. The cumin seeds I can get a hold of. That's not an issue. The black radishes have proven to be much more difficult because I can order them and have them shipped to my house, but they cost like $11 a pound. That's ridiculous. I can buy seeds and try to grow them, but then I'm not going to have enough to make this probably for several months. It's an interesting situation, and I thought about it. And so right next to the Columbus Convention Center is a place called North Market. And North Market is amazing. It's a great place to get food. It's a great place to get foodie things, including they have a produce stand in there. And sometimes in that produce stand, they've got some weird stuff. And I was like, you know what? If there is ever a place that might randomly have Spanish black radish, it would be there. Well, they didn't. Sadly, they did not. So the only thing on my shopping list for Origins I could not get. So now I have to acquire Spanish black radishes or the seeds and just hope for the best. But while I was there, I did buy some gourmet roasted peanuts and I think falafel while I was there. But I did some North Market stuff and it was wonderful. But the only other thing I actually bought while I was there, and I'm going to show you guys this before we close it out because it was just a really cool thing. So the guys over at DM Dave Publishing, you might know DM Dave from his videos and such, they have done an amazing... I haven't played the system. From what I'm reading, it's a basic D6 type system, but... I love. Their booth was across the way from ours, and I loved this. The style of this so much, I had to buy it, even if I never play it. It just sits on a shelf. It is a horror role-playing game, and they've done it in the style of it's like it's staple bound. They did it in the style of. Like a Fangoria magazine. Like that's the cover. This is straight. If I was seeing this on a magazine shelf, I would not know it's a game. I would think it was a Fangoria offshoot or a wannabe. It's super, super cool. I love what they've done with this. I love the style of it. So yeah, Dave Hamrick did an amazing job. Plus, who did the layout? The layout was interior illustrations were Rick Hershey, Matthias Lazaro, and Nacho Lazaro. It's fantastic. I love what they've done here. It's very much if you want to run, horror, a horror style game of various genres. That's all you need for this. And then at their booth, when I was over there picking that up, I was able to pick up the first one of their settings, or scenarios, a book of scenarios called The Diner. Again, looks like an old VHS style cover. I could see this kind of art on dozens of different kinds of movies. It's there's even the Be Kind, Please Rewind sticker on there. Some of you won't even realize what that means. This was the only thing I came home with, like product-wise, that I specifically was like, I'm gonna buy that, and I love it. It's super awesome just for thematic alone, and sometimes that is enough. But yeah, so overall, Origins was great. Met a bunch of people, took some business cards, talked to some people about sending stuff to do unboxing on the show. So you will still see more stuff down the road. Got to see a lot of my friends that I don't see all that often. I know that the people at Gamma do not necessarily like it when Origins gets compared to like Gen Con as like little Gen Con or anything like that, because they are separate animals. They interact differently with the fans. They try to do different things, to be honest. I understand my friends over at Gamma. They get tired of hearing, "Oh, you're like Gen Con, but smaller." But it is a nice convention to have in the ramping up for Gen Con, because I'll be honest with you, Gen Con is a lot of work for people in the industry. And Sometimes so much so that the best 4 days of gaming take us a month to prepare for. In fact, I'm working on stuff right now that's going to happen at Gen Con. So it's nice to get a convention that is still work, it is still professional, still get to do a bunch of work-related things, but also get to relax a little bit and socialize a little bit, because that ain't gonna happen at Gen Con. So it's a nice show, and next year I'm sure it's going to be just as cool. And I'll probably be, maybe next year I'll go to Origins for Evil Genius and do the part-time Res Nova thing. I don't know. We'll see where we go from there. But it's a great show, and if you're even remotely able to get to the Columbus, Ohio area in like the month of June, which is when Origins generally takes place, you should totally check it out. It's not very expensive. It's a great atmosphere, and who knows? Maybe you'll get a chance to play a game, or have a drink, or just sit around and chew some scenery with goofballs like me. Next week, we'll have another episode. I do not know what it's going to be about. I'm expecting a package, so it might be an unboxing, but if that doesn't come, I've got a short list of things to talk about, which could be pretty fun. So, without further ado, let's let you be on your day. Let's let me be on my day. And get out there and make those games. Be safe. Wash your hands. Don't be a jerk. Wear a mask. Get your shots. All the things that are necessary to try and keep civilization moving like it should. Just try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there, and I think the world will be a better place. Until next week, have fun. Play some games.